So after seeing little Jessica, I probably have to change some of my humor to little, instead of little Johnny, little Jessica. But they're not in our joke today. 3 preachers sat discussing the best positions for prayer while a telephone repairman worked nearby. Kneeling is definitely the best, claimed one minister. No, another contended. I get the best results standing with my hands outstretched toward the heavens. You're both wrong, the third insisted. The most effective prayer position is lying prostrate, face down on the floor. The telephone repairman couldn't contain himself any longer. He said, "Hey, fellas, the best prayer I've ever prayed was done hanging upside down from a telephone pole." I wouldn't recommend that for your daily meditations, but sometimes we find ourselves in places that require prayer from all kinds of angles. Sculpt a prosperous life, your divine plan for abundance. Today it's prosperity. Imagine the possibilities. We're going to talk about imagination. And I want to invite you this morning to think of a pink elephant. Capture that, a pink elephant. Or now see a beautiful yellow rose. Can you see a babbling brook with water splashing against the rocks in your mind's eye? How about a fireplace with a log burning and the fire glowing? Not an imaginative person, you say? You may not think in pictures, but you may envision things by what they sound like, a babbling brook, by what it feels like, the warm glow of the fire, by what it smells like, the fragrance of the rose, or by color, the pink elephant, or the stories that you've heard about pink elephants through the years. You may not be able to see a lemon meringue pie, but your taste buds often leap into action when you think about, oh, there's lemon meringue pie in Fellowship Hall today. I don't think there is, but your taste buds would respond as if there was. Still don't think you have the ability to imagine. I'm just not an imaginative person, people say. But let's just say one day at work, your boss walks in and says he'd like to speak to you in a little while in his office. He doesn't say what it's about. It's thoroughly unexpected. Or maybe you check your messages on your phone and your doctor has called you. What would that be about? And you start to wonder, why would my doctor call me at home? And the imagination you say you don't have all of a sudden becomes very active, doesn't it? Very active. Maybe you see the situation in a positive way. You imagine your boss is going to call you in to compliment you on your work skills and give you a raise, or your doctor's calling you with positive test results. That doesn't happen very often anymore. It's an email or something, but either way, I'd say your imagination is working just fine if you can conjure up those things in your mind. And today, our Sculpt a Prosperous Life is one of the keys to creating abundance, learning to allow the flow of abundance in your life and creating it in your life, and that's using your imagination. In our series, we started out with the statue of limitations. What are those rock-hard beliefs that you've chiseled into your life that may or may not be serving you for the good? And then we talked about desire, the Latin root of the word de, of the sire, father. All desire is of the Father. I think there's a slide for that, Jesse. And then we talked about clearing a space or release, that if Spirit awakens in you a divine desire or idea, you want to magnetize yourself to receive it, clear a space, clear out the junk in your house, the junk drawer, the trunk of your car, the inside of your purse, something symbolically to make room to receive. Clear your consciousness of resentments and unforgiveness and all that stuff. And then write it down. We talked about moving the invisible, shimmering essence, the divine substance of God from the invisible form into visible form. Very often, the first place your dream shows up is when the ink flows out of the pen onto the paper and you've given your dream physical reality in the world. And then we talked last week about the power of your spoken word, that your voice gives vibration to energy, and that vibration can form things in your world. And today we talk about imagination, how you vividly picture what you want to have in your life. The divine substance of God, well, Catherine Ponder says it's the action of the mind to picture. Jesse, I have a slide for that one too. It's the action of the mind to picture. You know, you say you don't have an imagination, but you can imagine that phone call from your doctor or your boss wanting to talk to you, or you see that babbling brook in your mind, or you taste that lemon meringue pie. There's something that causes images to be conjured up in your mind. Catherine Ponder says, if you are not actively picturing what you do want in your life in a constructive way, you may be unconsciously picturing what you don't want in a destructive way. The divine substance of God, out of which sources everything, waits for you to shape it for your life. And you shape it with the things we've been talking about in our series, with the written word, the spoken word, your imagination, your faith, your belief. And one of the quickest ways to mold that divine substance into definite results is with the power of your imagination, is seeing in your mind's eye what you want to create. It's through imagination that the formless takes form. It's Albert Einstein who said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Imagine that, from Albert Einstein. And Charles Fillmore says, it's through imagination that the formless takes, where is he here? It's through imagination that the formless takes form. Divine imagination is the scissors of the mind, where you're cutting away all the non-essentials and just shaping out what you want your life to be. So let me ask you, do you have a picture in mind of how you want your life to be? You know, I've been talking a lot about what's the next decade look like for you? What's it look like in terms of your health? What's it look like in terms of your relationships and your family? What's it look like in terms of your finances? Imagination begins as an image in your mind, and then it goes out and gathers everything that's needed to bring your dream into reality. And if you're not picturing what you do want, you may just be unconsciously getting up every day and not like Jessica, affirming your day and all the words that you want in your life, but just kind of in this drudge of, oh, it's just another day, and you're not giving any powerful thought to what you do want to create for your life. It is a cultivation, it's a habit, it's a mind training, it's a discipline. In Elijah chapter 35, verse 8, it's called the highway of holiness. It says, and a highway will be there. It will be called the way of holiness. It will be for those who walk on that way. The unclean will not journey on it. Wicked fools will not go about on it. The unconscious, the unaware, the foolish will not travel on it. The highway of holiness, it'll be there. The unconscious, unaware, and foolish won't travel on it. Do you get up every day and say, today I'm walking on a highway of holiness. Everything in my life is beautiful. All things conform to the perfection of the Christ Spirit in my life. John Oxenham wrote a poem, or wrote a little prose, and I love it because it reaffirms, or it challenges us. To every man there opens a way, and the high soul climbs the highway, and the low soul gropes the low. And in between, on the misty flats, the rest drift to and fro. But to every man there opens a highway and a low, and every man decides the way his soul shall go. Right? You get up in the morning in the highway like Jessica, or the low way. This morning I had to really work. I needed an extra shot of coffee, something to get myself out of bed. I don't usually wake up with an alarm, but I had it on, and it came off, and I hit it, and I hit it to be off. I didn't hit snooze, so I had to lie there and stay awake. I couldn't let myself go back to sleep for 10 minutes because I thought, I'll wake up, it'll be 9 o'clock, But I needed a couple more hours of sleep. And I had to get up and self-talk to come and be a vibrant presence and teach a message and offer a message that would be inspiring. So we choose, to every man there opens a way, and the high soul climbs the highway, and the low soul gropes the low. You climb the highway, but you grope the low. I thought that was interesting. And in between, on the misty flats, the rest drift to and fro. But to every man there opens a highway and a low, and every man decides the way his soul shall go, every man or woman. So there's two ways of working with your divine imagination. You can work with it specifically, or Charles Fillmore called it stay open at the top. The most familiar is specific imaging. You use your conscious mind to visualize the life that you want. And a brief reminder of some of the steps that we go through when you're specifically visualizing something that you want. First, you use your imagination with a lot of emotion, a lot of happiness, a lot of joy. Won't it be great? Isn't it wonderful when this works out? Won't it be great? Isn't this the best thing that could possibly happen? It's my greatest hope that this, and this will go my way. All those positive vibrational words that you're using and imagination that you're stimulating. Your feelings are quickly and easily charged by vivid pictures. And imagine images till you can feel it inside of you and say, yes, this is it. I often feel the second way is open at the top, that a divine idea drops in, or Denise and I talked about this, does it come up out of you from that vagus nerve that every part of you comes alive with this desire or this idea? I say it downloads, universal divine substance downloads a divine idea into my mind. And then what really our part is to say yes to it, to let it be fulfilled in us, because it comes complete. You use your imagination with a lot of feeling and images that when you can feel it inside of yourself, that's when you say yes to it. You say, the word I've been working with lately, on the dreams that have been in you since childhood that haven't shown up yet, let your promise be fulfilled in me. Let your promise be fulfilled in me. If God drops a divine idea in, and our teachings say it comes complete with all that it needs, all the people, the places, the things, the resources, everything, where's the block to it not manifesting yet? So it's a promise from God. It's a promise that's made in us, that's a very part of us. So let your promise be fulfilled in me. I think that's a beautiful word to get yourself, the ego self of you, the human self of you, out of the way, and just let this thing that you feel so deeply inside of you, your desire is so impassioned with it, just let it be formed in you. Let the promise be formed in you. In Be Specific, you can use your imagination to pray for your true love. Wonderful companion, someone who's devoted to you, someone who loves you, loves to spend time with you. You can picture all of that, and you just might get a puppy. If you're not specific that you're interested in sharing your life with a human companion, you might get the person that's a wonderful companion, devoted to you, loves to spend time with you, and worships the ground that you walk on, and it might just be a puppy. So you have to be specific when you're using your imagination for something that you want to create in your life. Catherine Ponder says, generalities do not produce results. That vague hopes and indefinite goals, they're not convincing to the mind. They're not a vibration that's strong enough to bring anything in. I told you last week about in The Power of the Spoken Word, how Catherine Ponder would pace back and forth in the office before she was ready to do her sermon, her message, affirming how she wanted things to go out loud with vitality, vim, and vigor and strength in her voice, the things we sang about today. It's good to pray for specific results, but stay out of the how. You know, who, what, when, where, why, how, God, how's this going to happen? Just confirm inside yourself that this desire is in you. It's been in you for years now, and you haven't seen evidence of it, but you've felt evidence of it for years. Where is it then? It's just allowing it. When God drops an idea in, it comes complete with all that's needed to fulfill it, the right people, the right things, the right time, the right way. Your role is to just keep picturing it, to bring it through rather than trying to force it or reason it through, but to just allow it. Let your promise be fulfilled in me. And you want to persist in picturing that good, that desire, that dream, Because what you bring about, what you think about most of the time, right? So when you go about your day, you know, if the idea drops in, just stop for a minute. Charles Fillmore used to do this. He used to stop and just stand in the silence, close his eyes and stand there. Rosemary Fillmore Ray, his granddaughter, when she was a little girl, you know, Charles Fillmore would just stop in the house like this. Her little friends would be over playing, and they'd say, "What's your grandfather doing?" And Rosemary said, "Oh, he's in the silence." She said, "We said that like that was a normal thing that people did in everybody's house." But he would just stop for a moment and affirm or confirm what was being created through him, in him, and through him. And so you bring about what you think about most of the time. You can't entertain random thoughts 10 hours a day and sit down for 5 minutes of affirming your desire and expect to get phenomenal results. You could, but it just depends on how you hold those 5 minutes, you know. It's important to discipline your thoughts to move in the direction of your dreams. I love my hair, I love my room, I love my aunt, I love my cousin, I love my life, you know. The other thing is to keep quiet about your dreams. The word secret and the word sacred have the same root. That which is secret is sacred. You can talk about the fulfillment of your dreams after they happen. If you go on and on and on about, oh, I can't wait till this, and you're telling everybody about this, you're dissipating the energy that would collect around the vibration of forming that dream. So you want to keep silent about it. Don't tell your dreams to others who may tear them down. Remember in the Bible, Joseph told all of his brothers he was going to be the greatest of all of them, and they were jealous, so they threw him into a pit to die and then sold him into slavery and put him on a journey that was really an amazing one because he spoke his dreams out loud. The other thing is, when we talk about keep quiet about your dreams and just envision them, you know, when it comes to mind, let yourself envision them. There's such a thing as mental constipation. Mental constipation. You don't want to strain mentally to make this happen or just be mad at God and pray that way, because you can repel your dreams that way rather than attract them. You just want to hold your desires open at the top, open in your mind. Thank you, God, for this or something even greater. So, one way to use divine imagination and to receive what God has deposited in you is to feel it, to persist in it, to stay open, don't strain, and let go. It's interesting that when you're pursuing your dream, imagining it vividly and often, there'll come a time when you'll get a sense that you're bored with it. You're done with it. You're done with it. And that's good because it means the seed has planted itself inside you, and a seed that's underground in the dark and you can't see it anymore really begins to work. When you get a sense of peace about your dream and you start to lose interest in it, that usually indicates that you finally securely planted that seed in your consciousness, and you can let go. You can let go and then let God bring it about. You'll find there comes a time when you observe the Sabbath about your dream. Even God rested on the seventh day, right? He created, and then stopped and allowed all of that. What does this say? When you get a sense of peace about your vision, or you start to lose interest in it, you've securely planted the seeds of your dream in divine substance, and you can let go. In the old days, we used to write out our goals and put them in the Bible, right? Put them in an envelope, stick them in the Bible, forget about them. Months later, you go back and you open up that envelope, you find them, and a lot of those things have come true. A lot of them you've lost interest in. A lot of them you were glad they didn't come true, but you let them go out into the universe and take their form. And that's when you've planted that seed, and then you let it go to grow and grow into its fulfillment. Let your promise be fulfilled in me. Which brings me to the second way we use divine imagination, and that's to be open at the top. Charles Fillmore said in our book, Keep a True Lent, with the power of divine imagination, it's possible to penetrate the spiritual dimension, or what is called the kingdom of heaven, We live in two worlds, he said, an invisible inner realm of thought and an outer visible world of matter. And we stand between the two because we can go into that imagination, that invisible realm, and feel and create and dream, and then we can see the results of that in our physical world. And he says, the more often we enter the kingdom with our imagination and lay hold of God's pattern of perfection in us, the less attention we'll need to give to worldly matters in all its details. In other words, I remember hearing Marianne Williamson speak one time, and she was talking about surrender, and she says, I get in the car to drive, and she said, let God drive the car, me in the passenger seat, just riding along. Can you let go of that kind of control? That you're just basking in the realm of spirit. Whatever your prayer time is, daily, weekly, or here on Sunday, and you just allow that time to nourish the health of your body, the strength of your life, your courage, your finances, your relationships. You just breathe it in and allow it. You don't have to figure it out or analyze it or rationalize it. Just, Mr. Fillmore says, the more often we enter that kingdom with our imagination and lay hold of God's pattern of perfection in us, the less attention we'll need to give to worldly matters in all its details. Just let your life be formed in me. Let the Christ Spirit be formed in me. And then get up and let that happen in your life. This is key to the second way of using imagination, because we're centered most of the time in things and people and objects and places and problems and concerns and all of that. But positive picturing in our minds, the second way of imagining, believe in yourself as rooted or grounded in God. Positive picturing allows you to identify yourself in the heavens at a higher level, where beyond our human ability, it gives us a strength that's beyond our humanness. It's spiritual strength, and we move into that vibration, and that enables us to sense and to know things. You know what's rooted deeply in you. An example of this, maybe you've lost, how many of you have ever lost your car keys? Or lately, lose your phone? Does that not bring it up in you? Lose your phone. And when you center yourself and you get grounded for a minute, rather than panic this and run unchecked everywhere, and I did this and I did that, just stand still and allow infinite mind to be in you, into the ground of your being. Open up your awareness and see if the answer doesn't float right through to you. Oh yeah, I left them in that pocket when I wore my raincoat last week. When it rained, I put my car keys in there, and I haven't used them since, and that's where they are. We have phenomenal power to allow the Spirit of God to reveal in our minds all kinds of things. You open up your awareness, and suddenly you know. Suddenly into your mind will come a vision of where your keys are sitting exactly where you dropped them in the driveway. In my own spiritual development, more and more I'm staying with open imagination. Rather than the human self of me figuring out what I want, I catch a glimpse of something Spirit is showing me in my imagination. In my prayer time, an idea comes to me, and I think, okay, yes. And I acknowledge it, and I give thanks that it's done, and then I get up and go about my day. And then over the next few days or hours or whatever, somehow that manifests in my life, whatever it was. It was just something very simple or something more complicated. Let your promise be fulfilled in me. That's the word I'm working with these days. An example of that is, I thought I was going to, I want to eat more fish, put more fish in my diet. Have you been to the grocery store and bought fish lately? Salmon or whatever. Price per pound is like, So I bought some, I came home, I cooked it, I thought, oh, this is just so great, I just love it. Well, I want to eat more fish. Should have said I want to eat more fish at an efficient price. Anyway, my golfing buddies, he's one of these guys that goes deep sea fishing once a year for 3 days on one of those $5,000 trips where they go out and they catch fish for days and then bring it all back. And he always comes back with way more flash frozen fish than his family can use. So he comes to the golf course and brings me 20 pounds of fresh fish, you know. And just in passing, it was, I'd like to eat more fish, you know. And then boom, there it is. I didn't make that happen. I just showed up in my life where I usually do on Thursdays at the golf course, and that dream was fulfilled. Is it really that easy? It is if we get ourselves out of the way, right? If we don't think, oh my God, the administration, the grocery prices, they're so high. I don't know how I'm going to be. Maybe you got to eat fish one day, one time a week, rather than as much as you want. You know, forget all of that. Just give thanks. Just stay open. The idea drops in, I think I'll eat more fish. And then the way is provided. But we have to trust and have faith and belief. That's what we teach here every week. Eric Butterworth says, you are not just human, but divine. You put your hands on your heart and say, I'm a child of God. I'm a child of God. That's right. The human part of you is like a shell that encloses your divinity. The divine of you is equipped with tremendous power by which you can do the kinds of things you dream of, right? Believe you are grounded in the all-accomplishing power of God. El poder de Dios. El poder de Dios, the power of God. That you are imbued with that all-accomplishing power of God within you, and that it's freeing you from any limitation to do and be and become whatever it is this dream is that's percolating in you. Right where you are, there is life, love, substance, wisdom, intelligence, creativity, and ability through which you can do great things. But you put your picturing power to work, and you'll be amazed at the ways the simple little everyday experiences will suddenly become easy. And you'll also be equally amazed at the great things that you never believed you could do that will happen for you, like, I'd like to eat more fish. Still working on my hole-in-one. I have gotten more disciplined with that. I've drawn it out now. I've used the written word. I've drawn out the holes on the golf course with my ball flying, landing on the green and rolling in. I'm giving it more attention now. So, you know, let your promise be fulfilled in me, God. John Oxum again, to every man there opens a way, and the high soul climbs the highway, and the low soul gropes the low. And in between on the misty flats, the rest drift to and fro. But to every man there opens a highway and a low, and everyone decides the way his soul shall go. So we'll close this morning with our affirmation. Let your promise be fulfilled in me. That's what here it is. Together, rooted in God as the ground of my being, I imagine a beautiful life. That's a great goal. You know, that's already been planted in you. You don't have to give that any analysis or whatever. I imagine a beautiful life, and then step out into the world and let that happen for you. All right, let's take that into prayer. I imagine a beautiful life. The power of our imagination is so great, so great. Psalmist said, you show me the path of life. In your presence there is fullness of joy. In your right hand are pleasures forevermore. Think about that, God's wish for your life, God's imperative for your life. You show me the path of life. In your presence there is fullness of joy. In your right hand are pleasures forevermore. You are a child of God. You are beloved